If your morning blood sugar is creeping higher no matter how carefully you eat during the day, the problem may not be your daytime habits at all. It may be what your body is doing while you sleep. Here's something almost no one is told. For many people over 60, blood sugar doesn't just drift up because of dessert. It rises overnight, in the quiet hours when you're fasting and should be at your calmest, because the liver quietly releases glucose into the bloodstream hour after hour. And there is a simple, almost free bedtime drink, backed by real research, that works directly on that overnight window to help flush excess sugar and lower what you wake up to. 2 ingredients, a warm cup, about 30 minutes before bed. Let me explain what's actually happening while you sleep, because it changes everything. Think of your muscles as a sponge for sugar. When that sponge is active and healthy, it soaks glucose out of your blood before insulin even has to work hard. But with age and inactivity, the sponge stiffens. It stops pulling sugar in efficiently, and that's what we call insulin resistance. Now, at the same time, your liver has a job overnight. It's supposed to release a slow trickle of glucose to keep you steady until morning. In a healthy body, that trickle is gentle. But when you're insulin resistant, the liver overshoots, pouring out too much glucose all night long through a process called hepatic glucose production. So you go to bed, you eat nothing for 8 hours, and yet your blood sugar and your insulin stay elevated the whole time. And any sugar the muscle can't absorb, the body starts storing as fat. That overnight environment, high glucose, high insulin, poor clearance, is exactly what pushes fasting blood sugar up year after year. And it's exactly what this drink is designed to target. I'm Dr. Sonia, an emergency physician. I've watched so many people fight their blood sugar all day and feel defeated by a high number every single morning, never realizing the real battle was happening at night. The good news is that the overnight window is one of the most responsive levers you have, and you don't need anything exotic to work with it. Quick thing first, if you're over 60 and working on your blood sugar, subscribing helps me reach more people who need clear, science-based answers. It's free and it takes a second. Here is the drink, and it truly is this simple. A warm cup of water with 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar and about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, stirred well and sipped about 30 minutes before bed. That's the whole thing. 2 ingredients that have each been studied for their effect on blood sugar and that appear to work even better together, aimed precisely at that overnight window. Let me tell you why each one belongs there. Start with the apple cider vinegar, because this is the workhorse. The active compound is acetic acid, and it does 2 useful things overnight. First, it calms that overactive liver, reducing the excess hepatic glucose production so your liver stops quietly dripping sugar into your blood all night. Second, it improves how sensitive your cells are to insulin, so the sugar that is there gets cleared instead of lingering. This isn't folklore. In controlled research, taking vinegar at bedtime lowered people's fasting blood sugar the next morning compared to plain water. Think about that. The same person, the same dinner, but a measurably lower morning number simply from a spoon of vinegar in water before bed. A tablespoon in a full cup of warm water is the dose, and it must be diluted, never taken straight, which I'll come back to. The second ingredient is cinnamon, but the type matters enormously, and this is where most people go wrong. There are 2 kinds on the shelf. The common one, Cassia cinnamon, is what's usually in the cheap grocery jar, and it contains a compound called coumarin that in the amounts you'd take nightly can stress the liver over time. The one you want is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon, which has only trace amounts of coumarin and is the safe choice for daily use. Ceylon cinnamon carries bioactive compounds that work at the level of your insulin receptors, essentially helping the key fit the lock better, so your cells can import glucose from the blood even when insulin is struggling. Paired with the vinegar, which quiets the liver, the cinnamon helps the cells take up what's left. One reduces the sugar coming in, the other helps clear the sugar that's there. That's why the combination is more useful than either alone. Just make sure the jar says Ceylon. Now, a drink is not a magic wand, so let me give you the habits that make it actually work, because the overnight window responds to more than one input. First, be careful what you eat right before bed. A late, sugary, or heavy carb snack floods your system with glucose exactly when you want it calm, and no drink can fully undo that. So keep the last couple of hours before bed light. Second, take a short walk after dinner, even 10 minutes. Gentle movement after your evening meal tells your muscles to open up and soak sugar out of the blood. And it's one of the most powerful, underused tools for lowering your overnight starting point. Third, protect your sleep, because poor sleep by itself raises stress hormones that push blood sugar up, so a cool, dark room genuinely helps your numbers. And fourth, consider your magnesium. It's involved in how your body uses insulin. Most older adults run low, and dark leafy greens, nuts, and seeds help. The drink plus these habits together reshape that whole overnight environment. Now the safety points, and please don't skip these. First and most important, if you take medication for diabetes, especially insulin or the older pills that push insulin, talk to your doctor before adding this, because vinegar and cinnamon can lower your blood sugar further, and combined with your medication, that could go too low. This is something to do with your doctor, tracking your numbers, not around them. Second, always dilute the vinegar in a full cup of water and sip it. Don't gulp it straight, because undiluted vinegar can irritate your throat and erode tooth enamel. Rinse your mouth with plain water afterward, and don't brush your teeth for a little while. Third, if you have acid reflux or a sensitive stomach, start with a smaller amount, a teaspoon of vinegar rather than a tablespoon, and see how you feel. And fourth, use Ceylon cinnamon specifically, for the reason we discussed. Do those things, and this is a gentle, low-cost habit. Here are the mistakes that stop this from working. The first is using Cassia cinnamon instead of Ceylon night after night, which adds a coumarin load your liver doesn't need. The second is taking the vinegar undiluted or on an empty, sensitive stomach, which just causes irritation and makes people quit. The third is treating the drink as permission to eat poorly, a big sugary dinner and then a magic cup, when the drink is meant to support good habits, not rescue bad ones. And the fourth is expecting a transformation in 2 days. Fasting blood sugar responds over weeks of consistency, so give it a few weeks. Keep an eye on your morning numbers with your doctor, and let the trend, not a single reading, tell the story. I want you to take away the real lesson here, which is bigger than one drink. Your blood sugar is not just a daytime story. It's shaped powerfully by what your body does overnight, and that overnight window is something you can influence, gently and cheaply, starting tonight. A calmer liver, more sensitive cells, a short walk after dinner, a warm cup before bed, and better sleep. Together, they lower the number you wake up to, and over time, that protects your energy, your weight, your heart, and your mind. Let's bring it together. Overnight, an insulin-resistant body keeps glucose and insulin high, while the liver over-releases sugar, which is why your morning number climbs. The bedtime drink is a warm cup of water with 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar and 1/4 to half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, about 30 minutes before bed. The vinegar's acetic acid quiets the liver and improves insulin sensitivity, and Ceylon cinnamon helps your cells take up glucose. Support it with a light pre-bed routine, a 10-minute after-dinner walk, good sleep, and enough magnesium. Dilute the vinegar, use Ceylon cinnamon, and if you're on diabetes medication, do this with your doctor. Give it a few weeks and watch the trend. Your mornings can start lower than they have in a long time. If this helped, share it with someone who's been frustrated by their blood sugar. I'm Dr. Sonia. See you in the next one.